Hi, I'm Chris Jenkins, and I am the policy administrator for SGA and the chair of the SEC for the 2022 spring elections. And this is just a short PowerPoint on some of the regulations and important timeframes that you'll need for this election season. So first, we have the timeline. It's pretty self-explanatory. The most important dates right now is getting on to Engage to submit your application for candidacy. That way, I can get you on the Wings page for you to get your signatures during the petitioning. That's going to run up until the 24th when it will close at 5 p.m. and that lets us get all the signatures tallied up over the spring break. So that way, whoever has enough signatures can begin campaigning on the 7th of March. And then that will run you right up until the following Monday when voting will begin at 8 a.m. And then it closes that Thursday at 5 p.m. So that way we can have those votes tallied by the following day and let everyone know the results of the election. As far as eligibility goes, the president must be at least a sophomore by credit hours at the time of their application. And then both the president, vice president must have attended at least 2 consecutive semesters as a full-time student, and senators must have been a full-time student for 2 consecutive semesters as part of their constituency. And then during the petitioning phase, the president and vice president ticket must get at least 300 signatures, whereas senators, they just need 100 signatures. The important forms that you'll have, first of all, is your student government candidacy application. You can't do anything until you have that done. And then from there, you'll need to complete a campaign staff form if you have anybody else on your team helping you petition and campaign. Then, if you're going to use a social media account, you'll need to submit an authorization form to the SEC, which we can create a social media account for you. And then from there, you can share anything you create on that account to your personal ones, but you can't repurpose your own personal social media account as a campaign account. Your campaign finance form, if you are spending money on your campaign, if you receive donations that are using for your campaign, you need to have this submitted to us with all of your finances. And then there's the oath of integrity. It's a very simple form that's just a checkbox that you'll follow the Wright State Code of Conduct. All the rules and regulations for the elections are in the SGA Constitution and bylaws. If I tried to include them all here, this would be a 50-page PowerPoint, and you would be more sick of hearing from me than you probably already are. The big points, though, there's no petitioning or campaigning in the dorms, libraries, or active classrooms. This is to allow people to rest at their homes, study in the libraries, and not interrupt classrooms. Active classroom is when a professor is actually actively teaching. You're allowed to get permission to give a little spiel at the beginning before they begin teaching, but as soon as the professor starts the class, all activity has to stop as far as campaigning. There's no flyers in locations that aren't approved by OSIL unless you have the dean of that building's permission, and you have to have that submitted to the SEC before you put your flyers up. There's no voice projection equipment. We don't want people out with megaphones walking around the campus, but if you are able to use your natural voice as much as you want. It's important to know, anything that's not expressly allowed in the Constitution bylaws is automatically not allowed, unless you hear otherwise from the SEC. And then there's no items placed on the windshields of cars. Nobody wants to come out to their car and see a bunch of flyers for different people on there. Just don't do that nonsense. And then, as I said before, social media accounts, we can create them for candidates on request, and their personal ones can't be repurposed. Yeah, you have to submit the names of all your campaign team members, and this is it to help us with accountability. If you have somebody going out violating campaign regulations on your behalf, we need to know that they're part of somebody's team. Yeah, we don't want you getting around that having somebody campaigning for you, and but yeah, um, you cannot use the student government resources. That it keeps it as a level playing field. Like you can't go down the office and prepare flyers, print things out. It makes one person seem more officially endorsed by SGA than others and can lead to an unfair campaign. So all SGA resources are just strictly off limits to candidates. Um, and then it's your responsibility. Any of your team members, you have to make sure they know the rules and regulations as well as yourself. Ignorance is not an acceptable defense. It's your job to know what the rules are. If you are unsure, get a hold of the SEC and we'll let you know. And then aside from that, just try to run a clean campaign. If you have questions, here's both my email addresses, my personal cell phone number. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would much rather you reach out to me ahead of doing something rather than just trying to take a guess of whether it's allowed and finding out it's not. I'd prefer to do my job as little as possible as far as holding meetings and getting the SEC together to decide if something's a violation. I would rather let you know ahead of time. So please don't hesitate to reach out. All right, well, thank you. And if you have any questions, reach out.